Let's talk career here, CC Sabathia, HBO's Under the Grapefruit Tree. The documentary is called that because you started learning how to throw by grabbing grapefruits. Was at Vallejo, California, right? Where you grabbed grapefruits on your grandmother's yard and started throwing it. Why baseball? Do you think it was just your calling or what? What do you think?
It was definitely just my calling, but growing up in Vallejo, that's the sport we played. We were good basketball players, good football players, but baseball was our sport, starting even in, Little League. I mean, that was just, all the dads out at the park, all the kids. I mean, even, me as the T-ball, kid, I would go out there and play the early game and then stay all day at the baseball field. So it was just, ingrained in us as kids that baseball was our sport. And, baseball always came easier to me. I played all three sports. I played soccer, too, growing up, but baseball was just, I could just go out there and do my thing always and felt very confident.
Were you always this size? I mean, how quickly did you become, the grown-ass man you became? CC?
You know what? I was big, but, I grew up around some big-ass kids, too, so I wasn't, the biggest. Not until high school did I really, separate, to be honest, but all the way up until my freshman year, I was, probably third or fourth biggest. Even in high school, we had, a 7-foot center, so I played power forward in high school.
Okay. All right. And then, obviously, you go to Cleveland and you start winning games and you start making a name for yourself. Why ultimately did it not work out with you in Cleveland? Was it a money situation? What was it, CC?
Yeah, I think it was just, that's just how they kind of play everything out, where, they sign you early, never let you get to arbitration. And then, it gives you some comfortability, as a young player. But you never sign back there as a free agent, kind of like what Lindor's going through right now. Santana went through it. We all, every guy that comes up in that organization, you go through it, and you just know at a certain point you're either going to get traded or, they're going to let you go because they can't afford to really sign free agents like that. They do a great job of, raising talent and their minor leagues is always great, but they just never really re-sign the guys.
And then you go to Milwaukee, 130 innings pitched in just half a season. Did they just squeeze every last bit out of you? Or did you think they overthrew you, just try to push the pedal to the metal knowing that you were going to go somewhere else? What do you think about your Milwaukee team?
It wasn't. I wish I could blame it on them. It wasn't them. It was me. I wanted the ball. It was my decision. I went into Dale Swain's office and told him, I'm going on 3 days rest when I figured out that Sheets couldn't go. His shoulder was hurting. But that team, we had so much fun. That team was so close. And it's weird because, I came up in Cleveland, spent 7.5 years there, really 10 years there because I got drafted when I was 17. And then I get to Milwaukee, and I felt like I had been there for 10 years. And I didn't want the season to end. And, I was feeling strong. Obviously, I was, in the middle of my career. So I was like, you know what, give me the ball. I'll go. I had no problem taking the ball. And that's why everybody always tries to blame it on Milwaukee. But it was more me wanting the ball. And my agent was freaking out at the time. But I was feeling good and felt like I could win every game.
Well, you had to know in the back of your mind the Yankees were going to come hard at you anyway, no matter what, right? You didn't know that. You had to have.
Yeah, I knew that, and even at the trade deadline, we almost had something worked out before I went to Milwaukee, but, I wanted to test the free agent market and get a chance to see what was out there, but they just blew everybody out of the water the first day of free agency and really just killed my market, and this was the only place I could come.
Sure, absolutely. CC Sabathia here on the Rich Eisen Show. What do you think is your signature Yankee moment, CC? What do you got for me?
You know what I think people will always remember me by, and this is crazy because I don't want to be remembered by this, is hitting Jose Sucre, I think. I think people will always remember me by that. But, for me, I just want people to remember me as I walked off, just leaving everything out there. I left my shoulder out there, my heart, my knee. Everything is literally, out there in the Bronx at Yankee Stadium. So I will want people to remember me how I walked off. Hurting and giving them everything I got.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.